also I'm Miss Edaline Felix, your Discipline and Ideas in Social Science teacher. Today we will going to learn and discover things that are connected with our lesson number 6, Symbolic Interactionism. To start this lesson, we will be using this lesson objective to appraise the meaning that people attach to everyday forms of interaction in order to explain social behavior. To synchronize the following lesson that is discussed last time, let's have a review. The following are discussed last time through our lesson Marxism. So let's have word connect. So these are the following terms that we have to emphasize during the previous lesson. And now we're going to rediscuss it again. Let's start with capitalism. Capitalism is an economic system based on the private ownership of the means of production of their operation for profit. This was been also proposed by the economist, which is Adam Smith. Moving on to Marxism, we also discuss conflict theory that was been first purported by Karl Marx. This is the theory that society is in conflict or in the state of the perpetual conflict because of competition for limited resources. Based also in conflict theory, people in the society is level according to its status. An example of it is proletariat. Proletariat are the workers or working class of people. On the other means, we have bourgeoisie, which are the middle class, or based on Marxist context, these are the capitalist class who own most of the society's wealth and means of production. All in all, Karl Marx believed that society is in conflict because we are not equal in terms of private ownership. He is believing for a political theory advocating class war or revolution, leading to society in which all property is publicly owned and each person works are paid according to their abilities and needs. And that is communism, to replace private property or profit-based economy. Before we start our discussion for today, I want you to watch this music video first. Music video is Happy by ASL Deaf Film Camp at CM7.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof.
Have you ever thought how blind, deaf, and persons with disability enjoy their life? How they used to interact with other people? The music video is done using by American Sign Language. This video only signifies that there are a lot of means to communicate and to express their feelings or our feelings. This has a big connection with our lesson for today, symbolic interactionism. Let's start by defining what is symbolic interactionism. Symbolic interactionism is a theoretical approach to understanding and relationship between humans and society. This was been first introduced by American philosopher and sociologist George Herbert Mead. These are the following main principles of symbolic interactionism. Number 1, human beings act toward things on the basis of the meanings that things have for them. Number 2, these meanings arise out of social interaction. And third one, social actions result from fitting together of individual lines of action. In general, symbolic interactionism is based on the idea that social reality is constructed in each human interaction through the use of symbols, words, gestures, and communicating through language. Not only the materials of interaction but also it study the social interaction as a key to understanding human behavior. It also focuses on the ability of actors to modify their behaviors to meet their needs of present and immediate environment. Some prominent ideas of symbolic interactionism is by Irving Goffman, George Herbert Mead, Howard Becker, and Herbert Blumer, and also Charles Cooley. Let's take a look from their studies about symbolic interactionism. According to George Herbert Mead, you couldn't have a self without symbols or without someone to pass through those symbols to you. So in other words, you learn who you are through others. Now, according to Herbert Blumer, as he established the three basic premises that define the symbolic interactionist perspective, human beings behave toward things on the basis of the meanings that they ascribe to those things. The meaning of such things is derived from arises out to social interaction that one has others in the society, and these meanings are handed in and modified through an interpretative process used by the persons in dealing with the things he or she encounters. Aside from that, we have also Irving Goffman that is also prominent by developing the theory called dramaturgy, a theory of interaction in which all life is like an acting. Goffman uses this theory to compare daily social interactions to gesture of actors on a stage. But aside from that, we have also Howard Becker that believing that there is a big connection of deviance and symbolic interactionism. He suggests that deviance is rooted in the reactions and responses of others to an individual acts. Becker would suggest that the label we ascribe to people has a major influence on their behavior. In sociology, deviance describes an action or behavior that violates social norms, including a formally enacted rule. An example of it is taking crimes, as well as informal violations of social norms. An example of it is rejecting folkways and mores. Last but not the least is the key prominent idea of the looking glass up theory, introduced by Charles Horton Cooley in 1902. The looking glass up theory describes the process wherein individuals base their sense of self on how they believe others view them. Using social interaction as a type of mirror, people use the judgments they receive from others to measure their own worth, values, and behavior. This is an example of the looking glass of theory. So as you can see in the illustration, we do have different persona. Those following different pictures of ourselves responds to the following people around us. People that we used to interact and people that used to be accompanied us. So an example of it is how my mom dad see me, how your girlfriend see you, how my older brother see me, how your ex-girlfriend see you, and so on and so forth. In symbolic interactionism, or also known as reflected appraisals, or the looking glass self, this was developed by Charles Cooley that refers to the ability to think about how other people will think about us. Number one, we imagined how must appear to others. Number two, we imagine the judgment of that appearance. And number three, we develop ourselves through the following judgment of others. To better understand the looking glass up theory, I have here an interview copy of I Am What I Think I Am by Jay Shetty from his channel, which is Fearless Soul.
I remember one of my parents had a maths tutor for me because they wanted to be amazing at maths. And I was pretty good at numbers, and I'd have this tutor and he'd tell me that, he goes, the reason that you're struggling with the next question is because you're always worried about what your parents think. And that really stayed in my head. I was just like, wow, so as long as I'm trapped by what my parents think, I can actually never find the answers to the real questions of life. I've always had friends who are older than me. And I could see a lot of them in the most successful careers, successful jobs, beautiful partners, whatever it was. But I saw a sense of lack of fulfillment, meaning, and purpose in their lives. And I've always been an observer, and I would see these people who are like 5 years older than me, 7 years older than me, maybe 10 years older than me. And I'd be watching them and go, is that the life I want? And often the advice I give to people today is fast forward where you are, look at yourself in 10, 15, 20 years time, and ask yourself the question, is that where I want to be? If you're in a company, look at the person who's 20 years ahead of you and ask yourself, is that where I want to be? If you're in a startup, look at where other startups have got to in similar roles and go, is that where I want to be? And if the answer is no, then you need to find a new path. And for me, the answer at that time from observing was no. The path that my parents or society or the university I went to or the community I had that was carving out for me, it didn't feel like the path for me. So I was almost seeking an alternative or a new path. I was just so fortunate that it happened to be an uplifting, powerful path as opposed to something that could have actually taken me down the wrong road, because that could have been possible too. I think even one step before that is opening yourself up to new role models and new experiences. See, we live in echo chambers. We're just surrounded by the same thinking. How often do you bump into a monk? You know, it just doesn't happen. No one has a dinner party and goes, oh yeah, we just invited the monk, from town, like the local monk. Like no one ever does that. And so we meet people who are just like us most of the time. And we talk about this in business all the time. If you want to be a billionaire, spend time with billionaires. If you want to be a millionaire, spend time with millionaires. If you want to be a tech startup, spend time with, that's the common rhetoric that we hear all the time. But what if you want to find purpose and master the mind? So for me, the first step is just opening yourself up to new experiences and new role models. Because most of us can't see ourselves in people, so then we try and fit ourselves into the boxes that we do see. And I mean, there's this beautiful quote that I've been saying it everywhere, and I wish I wrote it, but I didn't. So it's by a philosopher and writer named Cooley. And he said that today, I'm not what I think I am. I'm not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. Right? And just let that blow your mind for a moment. It's so powerful. I'm not what I think I am. I'm not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. So we live in this perception of a perception of ourselves. Hence, my identity is made by what my parents think I should be. My identity is made up by what my college or university thinks I should achieve. While you're living in that bubble and that echo chamber, getting to what you really want to do is impossible, because maybe that just doesn't fit. And I think so many people feel that way today, that they don't fit into the current education system. They don't fit with the 3 or 4 or 5 careers that you're taught exist. So that process of self-excavation and actualization first requires being exposed. You can't be what you can't see. If I never saw a monk, I would never have wanted to be a monk. If I never meet a billionaire, I wouldn't want to be one, because I wouldn't know what that feels like. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what it takes. And I think that's the biggest challenge of our society, that we're not exposed. So that's the first step, being exposed to unique experiences and role models. Second step is finding that experience or role model that you're passionate about, and exactly like you said, taking it seriously. Shadow them, network with them, spend time with them, observe them, even from afar. It takes that observation, being addicted to observing that person's lifestyle. And then the third step is going yes or no. Does that work for me? Not everyone who's going to go off and become a monk is going to feel like the way I did, and that's cool. But not everyone is going to go and follow and shadow a billionaire and go, that's exactly the lifestyle I want. They may want the result, but do they want the hard work that goes with it? And so for me, that's the third step. It's observing, focusing, shadowing, getting as close to the process of that individual, and then going yes or no. Do I want that process? Not do I want the result?
Hope that you really understand the following teachings for today, especially for the discussion about symbolic interactionism. For your assessment, you're going to make an essay that create and explain the mirror of their selves. Do not forget the following references that we use for this video to be possible. Thank you for listening. We're done to discuss symbolic interactionism. Till our next video lesson series, again, I'm your Discipline and Ideas in Social Science teacher, Miss Edeline Felix. Goodbye!